everybody, hope you're all doing really well and welcome to the Can You Adapt It book tag. So I haven't been tagged by anyone to do this, I just haven't done a tag video in a hot minute and I need to film lots of things ahead of schedule because I will be away for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I wanted to find some tags I wanted to do and one of them was the Can You Adapt It tag. So yeah, obviously book to movie or book to TV adaptations are quite often the controversial topic because there's always going to be people that love them and there's always going to be people that hate them, and 9 times out of 10 the adaptation's terrible. There are very, very few good book to TV or film adaptations that are like, you know, get the visuals, get the good actors, stick to the plot, don't make too many stupid changes. You know, there are very, very few that manage to capture the essence of the book. So yeah, so I thought it would be fun to do a book tag on this. So without any further ado, here are the questions. Number 1 is, what is your favourite book adaptation? For me, I mean, I'm not going to be answering one to all of these, there's going to be multiple. So for me, one of them is the Shannara Chronicles, which was a 2-season TV show following the story of the Shannara Chronicles by Terry Brooks, focusing mostly on the second book of the story, the Elfstones of Shannara, and following the characters from there. And I thought it did a really, really good job. I did watch the TV show before reading the books, so obviously, you know, I can't really say how much I think they changed it, because for me the TV show was better than the book, because I found the book to be quite dull. I found the characters to be really, you know, flat and quite bland, particularly the character of Eritrea. She was literally just there to be a secondary love interest for the main character Will, whereas in the show she's actually an important character who has, you know, depth and feelings and emotions and isn't there to just be a love interest. So yeah, I really felt that the show did a really, really great job, as well as sorting out the pacing as well. I found the Shannara Chronicles books to be very long and repetitive and just not particularly great, so I found that the show really, really fixed a lot of the problems that I had with it, and as well had a really just stunning visuals, fantastic costume. The actors all did a really great job, and the second series almost completely deviates from the book because you stay with these characters instead of moving on to the characters that are introduced in the third Shannara Chronicles book. But then you also get some backstory from the first book of the Shannara Chronicles, The Sword of Shannara, which obviously gets skipped over in favour of the Elfstones storyline. You know, you then get a bit of that backstory and things, and it kind of comes into play, and I thought that was really interestingly done, and whilst it's not a faithful adaptation of the book, I still think it's one of my favourites. That one's going to be the Alex Rider TV show that came out last year, I think it was, on Amazon Prime. It's been a while since I've read the Alex Rider books, but I think it was a really, really great show. I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good idea for them to completely skip over Stormbreaker after that film and just go straight to Point Blank. I thought that the changes they made seemed to make a lot of sense. You know, they give Alex a best friend that he sort of has that connection back home to, and obviously it sort of raises the stakes a lot more about how dangerous it is for him to do what it is, and they sort of lean into the sort of darker aspects of Alex Rider. Also in the books for kids it was just supposed to be James Bond for kids kind of thing. So, you know, a lot of the sort of darker themes were kind of skipped over in my opinion, particularly, you know, the fact that it's straight up a war crime for the government to be using a child spy, and I think that the show kind of leans into that a little bit more, which I really enjoyed. And it's getting a second season, which I'm really happy about because I personally really loved it. And I'm going to have to mention the one from this year. I thought Shadow and Bone was brilliant. I thought the actors all did a phenomenal job. I thought they paced everything out quite well, even though it was a little bit rushed in my opinion. There was a lot of things that they missed out that I was a bit pissed off with, but overall one of the better book to movie adaptations that I've seen in a long time, and I thought the incorporation of the Six of Crows characters was very well done, and I'm really, really excited to see what they're going to do with that show moving forward. Number 2 is, what is your least favourite adaptation? I mean, low-hanging fruit, but Percy Jackson, that was fucking awful. I still can't believe they actually made those films, and I'm very, very glad that it's getting a TV series reboot kind of thing with Disney+. I kind of feel like the Hunger Games movies like missed some of the points of the book a little bit. I think that, you know, they still did very, very good. It was a very good adaptation, but I just feel like it just missed like a few of the heavier themes in the books that like it just kind of glossed over them a little bit, and yeah, I just really feel like it just missed one or two things here and there. And I haven't actually seen Chaos Walking yet, which is bizarre because, you know, I've been one of the people that's been hyping that shit up for years. You know, I've been so excited for that film. But just from what I've seen of like the trailers and other people talk about the film, I'm a bit apprehensive to go into it because, you know, first of all, I know they don't have some characters that I want in there. I know they basically try to condense plot lines from the different books into one film. I'm a bit apprehensive, so honorable mention to Chaos Walking, even though I haven't actually seen it yet. Number 3 is, if you could adapt any book to a film or TV show, what would it be and why? Aragon, I think for sure. I think I'm one of those people that really thinks it deserves its own sort of TV show. And I know that the author was sort of like trying to push for a thing on Twitter about a month or two ago. I mean, I think it would definitely just be so good if you could get the whole of the inheritance cycle on screen. You would have fantastic visuals, especially with the updated sort of CGI and things you can do with the dragons. I just think it would be brilliant to see that book series, because it's one that a lot of people I think have the nostalgia for, because it's like, it was a lot of people's, and it was definitely mine, sort of first foray into epic fantasy sort of thing. Yes, the first couple of books are a bit sort of generic and stuff, but the latter two are really fantastic stories, and I just think it would be great to sort of introduce a new generation to that with a TV show. Another ones that I think would be really great adaptations, I think The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater would be a fantastic animated show, because it gets quite trippy with some of its visuals and things, like, and the stuff that's going on. I think it would blend really well to being animated. The Chronicles of Ancient Darkness by Michelle Paver is a sort of it's sort of middle grade fantasy, sort of set in like Stone Age times, and I think the visuals from that, it's set in this gigantic forest and things, and the characters and the way of life and just the plot and stuff would just make for a really, really good either TV series or films, you know, because they're not particularly long books, they would probably work as films, and I really just think it would be a great series to adapt. Mistborn for sure, I think that would be really, really interesting to see in live action and things. Legendborn as well, definitely. And with one book called The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shah, that's a book that's sort of set where humanity sort of lives underwater because climate change has caused everything to be flooded, and I just think the visuals you would get from that would just be fantastic to see, and it's a really, really good book as well. Really looking forward to the second one. And yeah, I think that would just be really interesting sort of setting, have everything completely underwater, and like the sets and stuff for that would just be so much fun. And then another one that I would love to see adapted is Doctor Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I just really love this series. Again, it would have fantastic visuals, and you know, the sort of Prague setting and stuff would be really, really cool to see for the first book. And yeah, I just think it would be a really, really good thing to see as a TV series. Number 4 is, what's one adaptation that's portrayed perfectly? From what I remember when I watched it, because it was a few years ago when I saw this, but I would have to say The Woman in White, which is the sort of BBC adaptation from like the 80s or 90s or something. And yeah, I just seem to remember that all the characters were just really well portrayed, and they paced everything out really well. You know, you got basically the whole story of The Woman in White. I don't seem to remember them cutting too much. And Marion Halcombe as well, who's one of my favourite characters, not just in this book, but ever. She was fantastic, because I actually had to watch this because I decided to, for English, our English class at National 5, we had to do something called an added value unit, which meant we had, and just the particular brief for the added value unit was we had to compare and contrast a book to movie or book to screen adaptation. So I did The Woman in White, and I remember comparing this one scene where Marion like just is such a badass, and yeah, I just remember it basically being word for word from the book and just really, really well done. So yeah, The Woman in White. Number 5 is, if you could star in any book adaptation, what would it be and which character would you play? I mean, I'm going to say Witchlands, just because that's my absolute favourite, you know, book series and things. I love the Witchlands. It is actually getting a TV show. It's in the works, but obviously, you know, until there's like the green light, you know, cast, we've got a trailer sort of thing, I'm always like apprehensive as to whether or not the production of that's going to stop, because it happens all the time. Yeah, I would just say Witchlands because I love Witchlands, and I would just be really fun. It would just be really fun to be in that, and I don't know. I reckon I could be a Sight Witch sister. Like, none of the main cast. I don't think I would be any good at any of that, but you know, I could be one of the Sight Witch sisters that's just like milling about in the background or something. So yeah. Number 6 is, when it comes to adapting a novel, what's your preferred media? TV, film, or miniseries? I think I have just a TV series since, for me personally, a lot of the books I read are fantasy and are fantasy series, and I think just films, especially historically, have just been not enough time to really delve into the world and the plot and the themes and the character arcs that happen. Even with standalone books, I just think having multiple episodes and just having that time just it's just so much better. And you know, with examples like, you know, Shadow and Bone, The Women in White, you know, those are TV series that have done really well versus other films and things that perhaps maybe haven't been paced as well and they've cut a lot or they've changed a lot. And yeah, TV series I think for sure. Number 7, if you could change anything from a recent adaptation, what would it be? I already said I haven't seen Chaos Walking, but I know one thing I would change from that is apparently they cut Wilf from it. Wilf is like the best character in the entire books, and they filmed scenes for him as well with the actor they had for him. But because of, like, you know, the mess that that film was, they cut it, and I'm just like, why would you do that when Wilf is easily the best character in the entire thing? Like, can't believe they did that. Number 8, is there a book adaptation better than the actual book? If so, which one? I mean, I already mentioned that I think Shannara Chronicles are better than the books. As I said, they really improved Eritrea's character. They really improved the relationship between Amberley, Will and Eritrea and the friendship that they have. And, you know, I really loved what they did with Will and Alanon's relationship as well, and how sort of testy that gets, especially in the second series. You know, I just think it was really, really great. You know, a lot of characters die in that series as well. Like, nobody's safe, so the stakes really feel like they've been upped and stuff in the show. So yeah, and I really liked what they were doing with the second series and things, and I can't fucking believe it got cancelled on a cliffhanger. But yeah, so I think that's one that did really well. And another one that was sort of better than the books, I would have to say the Maze Runner films. It has been a while since I've read the books and a while since I've seen the films. But whilst the first one was like fairly decent, I always remember really enjoying the first book. The second and third books, I remember just being like, there's too much going on, he's completely written himself into a corner, what the fuck's going on here? So I think that the films definitely fixed a lot of the issues that I had and helped with paced it out a bit better and just did some more interesting things. So yeah, I mean, they're still not like amazing films, but they still did a lot better than the books, I think. Number 9, can you tag it? Tag your friends. Okay, so I had a look at, because a lot of my booktube friends have already like done a lot of the tags that I do, but I think that the people I have found have not done it. They may have already been tagged by other people, but I don't know that, so this can just be an extra tag for them. The first one is Dominish Books. His channel is really fantastic. He does amazing reviews and has this really interesting reviewing system where he like weights things depending on his personal preference as well as looking at it objectively and things. Fantastic channel, does amazing reviews and things, likes doing book tags as well, so Dom, you are tagged. Another one I'm going to tag is Grace Dion. This is another really fantastic booktuber that you really need to go check out. She and I don't really read a lot of the same books, but at the same time I still love just hearing what she has to say about the books she has been reading, and yeah, she's just really lovely and I absolutely love her channel. Another one I'm going to tag is Elsa over the French Book Dreamer. She reads loads of books and loads of really great books, so I am very curious to see what she thinks would make really good adaptations. If you've been tagged already, sorry, but I don't know if I did have a look and it didn't look like anyone had done it, so I think I'm safe. So yeah, but anyway, thank you to everybody who's been watching this. What do you think of my answers, and what are your answers to these questions yourself? Let me know down in the comments. What are some of your favourite book adaptations, and what are some of your least favourite book adaptations? And what are some that you're looking forward to that are on the horizon? Definitely let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you've reached the end of this video, you clearly enjoyed yourself, so you might as well leave a like on it, and feel free to subscribe. I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and occasionally 3 times a week, and if I do that it'll be Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, but mostly just 2 times a week. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.